This is proving that he is further a fully human being. Because if his mother and him both used to eat food as ordinary people, and she gave birth to him, then she could not have given birth to a god. That is the point here. That is the sign that his mother was an ordinary woman, and we know ordinary women give birth to ordinary children. Therefore, Jesus was an ordinary man and not God. She did not give birth to a god. That is the point there.
Oh, this is so satisfying. Hearing you sounding all cocky and making an argument, thinking that you are actually making a valid point against me, but actually ending up proving my reading and destroying your own reading. This is what I meant when I said that you keep contradicting yourself all the time. Now you say that this text is about Mary being an ordinary woman together with Yeshua being an ordinary man. But earlier, you laid out this criterion.
When you get to verse 75, he is just talking about the ordinary nature of Jesus. That Jesus was the Messiah, son of Mary. He was only a messenger. Notice he doesn't say, and Mary, she wasn't a god. Notice why doesn't he say that? So your argument is a failed argument. Because he would have, if he was trying to negate Mary being part of the Trinity, he would have to address that and say, well, why does he address Jesus only being a messenger? Why doesn't he say anything about Mary? Why doesn't he say anything about Mary? How can he say, and Mary was not, she was just a woman? You see? You see what I'm saying? Why doesn't he say that? Why doesn't he say, and Mary was just a woman? Jesus was just a messenger, and Mary was just an ordinary woman. If the verse is claiming to deny the Trinity there. Yeah, that is the sign that his mother was an ordinary woman. Why doesn't he say, and Mary was just a woman? Jesus was just a messenger, and Mary was just an ordinary woman. If the verse is claiming to deny the Trinity there. Yeah, that is the sign that his mother was an ordinary woman.
Which means that per your own admission, and I will keep repeating it until you get how you destroyed your religion by admitting to Allah's error. Since this is about Mary being an ordinary woman, Allah says here that Mary is part of the Trinity per your own criterion. That's what you get when you lie as you go along. Shadid, you forget your previous claims and end up contradicting yourself. Thereby you prove my point and bury your own argument.
And again, as I told you before, you like to use the tafsir when it suits you. Yet the tafsir of these verses from 75 down to 77 clearly states that when it gets to the part where it speaks about exaggerating in their religion, in the tafsir it says, yes, they exaggerated what? It doesn't even talk about Mary. It says that they exaggerated in their religion, making Jesus more than what he was. So the overall issue that's being addressed from verse 72, verse 75, 76, 77 is about Jesus being God. That's the overall issue that's being addressed. He does address that God is not three, but the overall issue is that Jesus is not God.
Yes, but we are not talking about verse 77 now, are we? This guy's all over the place. Why aren't you dealing with the verses in question? This is what you fail to tell your audience. Verse 75 of Al-Jalalain. His mother was a truthful woman, extremely truthful. They both used to eat food, like all other human beings, and one who is such cannot be a god because of his compound being and valuable nature. Ibn Abbas on verse 75. And his mother was a saintly woman, and they both used to eat earthly food. They were both servants who used to eat food. See, O Muhammad, how we make the revelations, the signs that Jesus and his mother are not gods, clear for them and see. Ibn Kathir on verse 75. His mother was a Sadiqah, for she believed in Allah with complete trust in him. This is the highest rank she was given, which proves that she was not a prophet. Allah said next, they both used to eat food, needed nourishment, and to relieve the call of nature. Therefore they are just servants like other servants, not gods, as ignorant Christian sects claim. May Allah's continued curse cover them until the day of resurrection. Isn't he nice? Anyway, here is the proof that your scholars support my reading about the fact that verse 73 to 75 is an argument against the divinity of both Mary and Jesus. And since you have no explanation from either your God or your prophet to overrule these scholars, who do you think you are to tell them their reading is incorrect? So what do you do with these references? All you can do, and all you have been doing, is feed your scholars to the sharks when they support me. Again, I have no problem with Ibn Kathir's explanation of verse 77. But what you are doing is picking and choosing. We have been discussing verse 73 through 75. You have been accusing me of injecting my cover reading, my cover interpretations, and bogus misreading into the Quran to make it look bad as far as those verses go. But all I am doing is evaluating the text in a fair manner, and when I check what your scholars say, they support me, not you, thus proving that your nonsense about my interpretations being kafir is just desperate boasting, playing the emotional, oh, kafirs want to make Islam look bad card to throw Muslims off guard and preventing them from evaluating the evidence in an unbiased fashion, regardless whether I am an unbeliever or Muslim, a method that will lead any unbiased reader to the conclusion that yes, the Quran does misrepresent the Trinity by including Mary in it. And by the way, you keep saying that this text is only about Jesus' divinity, not about Mary. The question then becomes, why mention that both ate food? Why not say Jesus ate food, if it's only an argument against his divinity and not Mary's? See, if the fact that Mary ate food is sufficient to prove that she is just human, then why not just say that only about Jesus? By the Quran's criterion, that would be proof enough that he was just an ordinary human being. But the fact that this says that they both used to eat food, this says they are both just human and not gods and cannot be joined in a trinity with Allah. Allah's mistake has been proven, buddy.
In fact, when Allah addresses this issue, this is what you find mostly throughout the Quran. In chapter 5:17, in chapter 5:72, in chapter 5:75, in chapter 19:30, in chapter 43:59. This is what Allah addresses most of the time. When he's addressing what the Christians claim, he mostly, majority of the time, addresses the issue that Jesus is not God. That's his biggest issue. That's one of his biggest issues, that Jesus is not God. You see, that's the biggest issue that's addressed, as you can see from these various verses that are mentioned. Okay?
No, again, I don't see. And what you fail to tell your audience is that whenever the Quran criticizes Christians and their Trinitarian views, it always puts Mary into the mix, as in Surah 5:116, in Surah 4 verse 171, in Surah 5 verse 73 through 75. Whenever Allah talks about three or refers to three persons being divine in reference to the Christian doctrine, Allah always puts Mary into the mix, never the Spirit, which shows that Mary is not talking about three of anything as Shadid claims, but three specific people, namely himself, Isa, and Maryam.
This is the clarification of chapter 5 verse 75. Again, chapter 5 verse 116 makes it clear that Allah does not consider the Trinity to be him, Mary, and Jesus. When he does address the issue of Jesus and Mary being taken as gods, he says again, when Allah will say, O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to men, take me and my mother for two gods besides Allah, other than Allah? Again, the Arabic here is min dunillahi, which means min dun means without. So here he is clearly showing that when it comes to this issue of Jesus or Mary being taken as God, they are taken as gods to the exclusion of Allah, not including him.
And we have already seen that min duni doesn't strictly mean apart from or excluding Allah, but alongside Allah, as is evident in Surah 5 verse 76, where the context is Allah being a part of the Trinity, not excluded from the Trinity. This is what you said earlier, joining verse 76 to verse 73.
I can't believe how you made this statement. Even the next verse shows you. Even the next verse shows you that when it says, see how they are turned away, it's talking about the disbelievers. Verse 76 says, say, do you serve besides Allah that which controls for you neither harm nor good? And Allah, He is the hearing, the knowing. Say, O people of the book. You see, the whole context is talking to the people of the book, not demon. So if you go from verse 73 down to verse 77, the entire context is referring to the people of the book.
And it is also evident from Surah 10 verse 66, where partners are associated with Allah, not excluding Allah. And if you want to insist on your reading, then name me one group that took Mary and Yeshua as two gods, yet excluded God the Father. This is what you said earlier.
But other than Allah, meaning you negate Allah and you say Jesus is your God instead. Meaning you negate Allah and you say Mary is your God instead. Not that Allah, Jesus, and Mary are your gods, but that you say no, Allah is not your God at all. Jesus is your God. Or you say no, Allah is not my God, Mary is my God, so I'll pray to Mary, I'll do Hail Marys, etc. No, yeah, she's awesome because she's weak on you guys. That's why you like her. You like her because she's lenient. She's too lenient on you. Well, here you're dealing with the men. That's why man is the leader.
So, since Allah is supposed to be the Father, then tell us which Christian group took Mary and Yeshua as two gods and said the Father is not God. Notice it says two gods, not gods, meaning separate from one another, but two gods, and excluded the Father. Name me one group that had such a theology. Just one. Again, that group did not exist. Allah is just making stuff up. Again, even if your reading is correct.